and our focus this morning is to try and get to the bottom of this canker, this endemic issue, the menace of illegal mining that is strangulating the people of this country, basically depriving us of our food sources, depriving us of our water resources, and there appears to be very little being done in that direction. Our expectation is that, true to his words, minister responsible for lands and natural resources would, in the course of this conversation this morning, before the super morning show ends, join and give us an update of last night's meeting he told us was going to happen. That meeting was supposed to give him a proper and better appreciation of what's happening across the country, so measures can be deployed immediately to resolve the problem and show evidence that indeed government is committed to dealing with the menace here. We sure should be waiting on him as he gets us some update on this. But before then, though, already we've had others who have joined the conversation. There are still calls out there to, for example, the ever powerful trade unions, because this is a national matter. We saw how their single intervention brought the entire conversation of sale of hotels to an end. We saw how when they come together and declare powerful positive action, it ends menaces in this country and difficult problems and help us resolve it. Are they interested in this matter? Will they step in and save us and our future from this all-important issue that we've been dealing with for God knows how long? But joining me in the conversation today is Professor Emeritus Stephen Adair. Prof is actually with Access University and is the immediate past chairman of the National Development Planning Commission. At some point, Prof was also the chairman of the Ghana Revenue Authority too. Prof, you're welcome to us.
Thank you very much.
Yes, certainly we should also bring on board the former minority leader member of parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idrissu. Honorable, you're also welcome to this all-important conversation.
Raymond, thank you very much for the opportunity. My pleasure to be joining Prof.
I shall come to the...
Please tell Idrissu that I'm alive.
Oh,
he forgets me every Christmas.
Oh, really? Well, I'm sure he heard you, and
yes.
A member of parliament will have to consistently stay in touch with Prof. But Prof, let me start with you. The big story on the front page of the paper said you are demanding a national emergency be declared on this particular matter. To what end is the response from many? Really, to what end?
Well, first of all, there's no doubt that the greatest national disaster facing it is Galamsey. And something that is now, as we are talking, Cape Coast, Takoradi, Obuasi are all in danger of not having regular supply of clean and healthy water. Our cocoa industry has been destroyed for the first time since late 60s. We are going to have less than 500,000 tons of cocoa. Our food supply, I just came 2 weeks ago from Wasa-Memphis, and all the roadside, there's no plantain even being sold because the land is being devastated. So the first is that we have a national emergency. And now that is the political season, as I heard you, the people think that neither Mahama nor Baumia or anybody will harass them. So therefore, they are all out. You can't believe it. You take a car and go from through the Wasa-Memphis area on the Ayamfore Akropon Road, and you will weep. I stopped to talk to the police people and say there's nothing we can do. And I believe that it is the single pointer of national leadership failure, political and traditional. And we are faced with some that I'm so glad that you in Joy FM is devoting this serious attention to it. I believe that there should be a declaration of a national emergency, which of course I don't expect it to be done within the next 3 months. But I hope the first 100 days of any government who means business in Ghana, and we should insist on it. A national emergency means that the president then has all the power, almost like a dictator for 3 months, and he can renew it for another 3 months to deal with this menace. And the first thing is to, in the national emergency, to say that everybody, every earth-moving equipment should be moved out of the rivers and the forest. Even those for road construction should be assembled in the district capitals. You don't immobilize them, despite the fact that the propaganda that Professor Frimpong Boateng stole 500 excavators. This is nonsense. They just went and took the brain from there, and then the people just went the next day went and bought one and put it there and took their machines away. And because they wanted to just ditch him, they talk all this nonsense about one of the finest gentlemen in the whole of this country as having stolen 500. But we bring them all out, and then anyone who doesn't bring that emergency, yes, it will be bombed and destroyed in the forest and the river. We are talking about death of our people and our nation and our economy. And we must also have, at the same time, a strategy to register all these our young men and women who are involved in it. There are foreigners in it. We extradite them back to their countries, but our people will register them and take care of them, even getting them into a brigade. But something must be done. That one, the details we can work later. But this is something that we cannot wait for another year and for another election to come. It is now or never.
This is reminiscent of what happened in 2017. We declared some form of an emergency. We actually banned or suspended all forms of... Indeed, there was even a lot of action from then Minister John Peter Amewu, moving from one concession area to the other, arresting especially with his own team, including mining officers. Fast forward 8 or 7 years down the line, we are back here. Is the declaration of the emergency a short-term measure or the panacea to the problem?
First of all, we didn't declare emergency. A national emergency means the president, we are talking about the constitutional emergency, the president having absolute authority to use conventional and unconventional means, which the details, we will not do it all on the radio, to make sure that certain actions are done. And as I said, that after clearing all, the army will go there, you are given 1 week to bring your machine, or it will be bombed. It will be destroyed totally. The second is that part of it, we should be dealing with these young men. We don't want to throw them all into the street, as some of them have the audacity to say that you want us to go and steal. In the emergency, let them go and steal, and we'll deal with them. But on a positive side, we must register them, provide temporary financial support, and reorient them and train them. So there will be, the emergency is to clear the forest and the rivers, but there should be a well thought through agenda so that these young men and a few women are provided with sustainable livelihoods. And rather than, at this moment, they are more dangerous to us than the so-called foot soldiers whom they got the YEA and other things to bribe them. These people are very dangerous, so there will be a comprehensive rehabilitation of them for their national good. So it's not a matter of their political gimmicks and they're trying to show that, in fact, by all convention, the president should resign because he said that he will put his presidency online, which was just for the gallery.
You did say that we could not implement this national emergency immediately. Exactly what will stop us from doing so now? The destruction is happening now.
The reason, not that we could not, they will not. Why? Because of the the elections, they will not. And I'm a realist. But if I were the president, I would do it now. But I must also be a realist. I know they will not. And you won't get Mahama to say what I'm saying. You won't get Bawumia to say, because at this moment, the only thing that matters is getting their vote. So I wasn't saying that we shouldn't. It should be done immediately, but I know to ask for that is asking for the move.
Yeah, but Prof, is that not part of the problem? The fact that we say we're being real and we know that they wouldn't do it. Shouldn't we be compelling
I said that
them
they wouldn't do it within these 3 months.
Yes, but shouldn't we be compelling them to do it now?
You know what I'm saying, I'm a realist. I know that it won't happen. But if we mobilize now, and I want you to be part of the mobilization as we are doing now, and snowball it by January, when the election is before them, anyway, the one who will do it will become a national hero, and we will help them to become a national hero. But at this moment, you won't get even Bawumia or Mahama to listen to you, and I tell you, Akufo-Addo will not do it, not because that he's going to be the next president, but because he wants Bawumia to win.
Well, now, let me bring in the former minority leader into the conversation. I will ask to declare national emergency anytime soon or perhaps in the future. But you in Parliament have a responsibility to actually extract accountability from ministers and others who have been given the sole charge of manning some of these ministries. It is very reasonable to say that you have failed in that responsibility. That's why we are where we are.
To some extent, you are very right. The Parliament of Ghana have failed Ghanaians in many respects in the exercise of our oversight, in particular over the management of our mineral and forest resources. I can agree more with Professor that the continuous destruction of the natural environment of Ghana, which impacts on our forests and water resources, must be halted. And it only can be halted through what he has described as a national emergency, and elevating the failures of our fight against illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, to the highest priority action of government. But we also must accept that, as of today, the responsibility over the resources management of our natural resources is vested in President Nana Akufo-Addo. He is a monumental failure when it comes to the fight against Galamsey. Let's admit it. Let's let him appreciate that he has failed. And then, as a country, is gold a curse? Should gold be a curse? Should this mineral resource be a curse? Certainly not. God gifted us for us to take advantage of it for enhanced social and economic development of our country. We've depended on it since the 15th century. But listening to Prof, it reminds me that our strategies have simply failed. Whatever interventions, it has not worked, whether it's military intervention, it's burning of excavators, it's ministers. Arguably, with the very first point you made, Ray, one should be filing a motion of censure and impeachment against the President of the Republic for failing to fight Galamsey, with its consequential impact on our forests and water resources and its denial of quality livelihood of the citizens of Ghana. But when you initiate it, partisanship will take control. We will not look at the merits of the issue. Now we heard, as Professor Age has said, We had even President Akufo-Addo put his job on the line. What has he done? If it was in any civilized democracy, the president would have bowed out and said that I have no honor because my pledge to fight Galamsey have fallen flat. It has failed. He is still hailing himself. Ministers are hailing him. You heard that irresponsible comment of the majority whip when he says that you polluted water more, the NDC polluted water more than the NPP. Where is the data? What he said, is it backed by any statistical evidence? Certainly not. Must this be accepted in Parliament? Certainly not. Does this help in the fight against it? Certainly not. So see, why would Parliament fail the people of Ghana? If you have a whip, his appreciation of the issue is just what you reported before you asked for the comment from Professor Ade. But I certainly agree with him that it is a national security crisis and must be declared a national emergency. We should hold our leaders responsible to their word and to their pledges and promises to the people. But I certainly cannot trust the current political leadership that they can do anything better about Galamsey. Then we need to analyze, it is part of our unemployment crisis as a country.
I will come
Many
to
of the young people are finding livelihood through that. And so long as they earn something, they don't care about what they are doing to the environment. They don't care about climate change and its consequences. So
yes.
I agree with you that we should have elevate it into a national emergency. Where I disagree with him is the time frame. It shouldn't wait. It should be today.
Okay, well, I get you.
Redefine our strategies.
I get you, but Parliament was recalled. There was a member of Parliament who actually spent time demanding that the minister responsible for lands and naturals and others be holding for questioning. I didn't hear you propose that indeed there is a declaration of a national emergency that should be done. I didn't hear those of you in the House make this proposal known to the executive of this republic using perhaps the biggest platform that's available.
Raymond, thank you very much. Lost opportunity. Why was Parliament reconvened? To respond to another national emergency. What was the emergency? We simply came to approve a loan of $250 million US, nothing more, because of our unsustainable debt and because government's failure to arrest the depreciation of the city. They need to enhance their forest reserve. That's all that we did. I even said that there are matters affecting the elections of 2024, presidential and parliamentary. Are we ready for the Electoral Commission to do what will safeguard our democracy and safeguard our democratic institutions? There are problems with illegal transfer of voters. There are problems with biometric devices, batteries not being available or adequately procured. That was not Parliament's priority. Unfortunately, this emergency was at the instance of the majority, and they chose that we should come and do these loan agreements together with some other tax exemptions. Ideally, I agree with you that when the matter of the Electoral Commission and the matter of the continuous destruction of our environment and natural resources came up, Parliament should have given it some attention. The Honorable Suhini raised it earlier, even on your platform, who is a ranking member for lands and natural resources. It's been ignored. So Ghana misplaced priorities. I agree with you.
Now, Prof is not convinced that given the kind of timing we have on our hands and the electioneering period, both the NDC and the NPP would be willing to go through with this national emergency. He's not convinced that putting the people first is a priority under the very circumstance. Do you think?
Yes, I think that national emergency be declared now and today, not tomorrow. And for Prof, he should put the blame where it is. Today, Ghana's natural resource management is vested in President Akufo-Addo. Read Article 268 of the Constitution. Even all natural resources is vested in the President. So if it is not being managed well, we should hold the President responsible. And his interventions have simply failed. His strategies have failed. military brutalization of persons involved in Galamsey have failed. We saw them burn excavators in Kumbungu in 2017 that ended the livelihood of tipper truck drivers and their families. What has that yielded? So I agree with him, but I see sometimes we are shy to put the blame where it should be. Today, it is not about John Mahama or NDC. There is a government Ghanaians have put responsible for the management of its forests and natural resources. That government must be held solely liable and responsible for the mismanagement of it.
Except that if it was to be another jurisdiction, we'll be calling you the shadow government.
I agree with you. I said this shadow government. Even a motion, look at the mess Ken Ofori-Atta and Nanado have led us into. When I filed a motion 2 years ago and said, let's censure the Minister for Finance, he's crashing this economy. Look at the consequence of his action and deeds on businesses, on livelihood, unsustainable debt. Because of partisanship, we lost because I didn't have the numbers. If you file an impeachment motion against the president for failing to fight Galamsey, it's likely to fail because we simply, as a minority shadow government, don't have the numbers. You need to test, which is about 183 votes. We don't have it.
And you are convinced there are no conscionable members of the majority who support you in this quest?
There are partisan members of parliament.
Now, before I transition from this point, you have experience and you are a lawyer. Do you, in all conscience, support this "I will give you amnesty if I come into power" talk that is being attributed to the NDC?
Yes, the flag bearer, President Excellency John Dramani Mahama, have made some promises to have an understanding and appreciation of the problem. He does really understand that Galamsey is a problem, a major threat to our forests and natural resources. Is one of many strategies he would unveil when he's elected as president. But today, he is not to be held responsible for the failures in the management of our forests and natural resources.
But if you promise the people amnesty in the future, why would they be interested in any form of attempt which would get them leaving those pits today?
They will leave it. He is not in control today. Raymond, that's the point I'm making. Yeah, President Mahama is not in control. The people of Ghana have vested their trust in Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, not in John Mahama. Not at all. Not at all.
But Honorable Idrissu, the question is, if you are promising an amnesty,
and I've said that amnesty is just one of many.
Yes, but you one minute.
And this flag
1 minute. If you are promising amnesty, if you become president from 7 January 2025, what would deter me from actually stopping, knowing very well that even if I were arrested today, from 7th January 2025, I stand a chance of being released from jail?
No. He's simply saying that we are dealing with the symptoms, not the actual problem. So his understanding is that many, including the political elites, are getting away with Galamsey. They are profiting and benefiting from it. And you are throwing ordinary people into jail. You are not dealing with the problem. That's what he's suggesting. Deal with the real culprit. Can a poor man buy an excavator? Those you are seeing in jail, can they buy an excavator? Can they even rent it? So those who rent for them must be held responsible. When you have DCs involved in it, in any case, there is a licensing regime. Who authorized those licenses? Is he not supposed to demand respect for environmental standards and its preservation in the granting of license? Who is holding who responsible, including the Minister for Lands and Forestry?
Great. Now that you've raised this point, in Parliament on Tuesday, Speaker of Parliament Alban Suman, I'll be glad if we can look for the Speaker's sound, where he says there are members of Parliament who are engaged in that, and some who go and collect money, and that those members of Parliament who engage in Galamsey and those who collect money. Now, let's listen to the Speaker, and I'll ask you my next question. Please listen.
And the people you are talking to are aware. It's not that they are not aware. They are aware. that you are some of you are participating in it. So please, first desist from doing it yourself. Don't go to them for the money for your campaigns. Don't go to solicit their votes. Let them see you work. Truly, it's a disgrace that we've gone to this far. Look at the water. Horrible.
So, Honorable Haruna Idrissu, the Speaker of Parliament, desist from doing it yourself. Don't go for their money. In Parliament, according to the Speaker, there are people who are engaged in this. Why?
He's referring to the actors. I'm not one of them.
No, I'm not saying you are one of them. I don't know whom he's referring to, but
yes,
why
so let's find out those.
No, hold on a second.
So the media.
No, when I finish, you would understand. Because peer pressure is important. How is it the case that in Parliament, according to the Speaker, there are persons who are engaged in this, and Parliament hasn't found it necessary to fish those persons, name and shame, as a first step towards the fight themselves?
We accept the challenge, and I think that the committee responsible for mining and matters related to the management of forests and natural resources must take a look at it. Parliament itself, in the larger national interest, must be interested in it. But in Ghana, we simply are shielding wrongdoers when it comes to fighting Galamsey. And that is what this amnesty call is about. If you think that is a strategy that you think that may not work, you can express it. But it's a way to say that, no, those in jail are not the actual persons who should be there. The real persons are walking free.
Prof, we were trying to get you to give us some direction from now to the end of the year, if we are truly interested in getting to the bottom of this matter. If for once we are truly committed to dealing with illegal mining sustainably, what is the roadmap we should use? What are the immediate steps we should take now?
First of all, let me make a correction about what how Honorable Idrissu commented on mine. I'm not saying that we shouldn't act now. What I was saying is that you won't get Mahama or Baumia in the election period to take action. But we, the citizens, can take action. First of all, we can organize to say that, to force them to make pronouncement as to what they are going to do about Galamsey, because it's a national disaster. Secondly, President Akufo-Addo is responsible for national issues. He cannot be allowed to get off easily. We must bring pressure to bear. So at this moment, much of the action lies with the civil society media to bring pressure. But as I've said, what is needed is a question of the timing. There has to be a declaration of emergency. There must be total demobilizing all these equipment being used to destroy our body water and our forest. Thirdly, we must have an agenda to manage the people who are our sons and daughters involved in Galamsey. I believe they have to be rehabilitated, retrained, supported in the meantime, and also be taught how to do modern mining, form them into groups, because I think that they can be a very important asset when we are doing the mining in the right way.
Prof, but talking about modern mining, Prof, we've tried the community mining. And many of these community minings are engaged in bad practices.
It was the same. If you say community mining, the rest say that they are in the community and they were. But we need to train them in the modern way so that they can mine without destroying our water bodies. And they must be. And if at this moment all the machines are immobilized and seized, they cannot be doing it. And it will be in their interest. We can get them to collaborate because we want to help them to have sustainable livelihood. Meanwhile, it is good for us as a nation, the amount of money we are wasting on many other things, to support them financially ad interim. So there can be a well, but of course, this is my off the cuff one. If we are dealing with it, there must be by now, Honorable Akufo-Addo should put in a non-partisan technical team to find solution to this. So we can't do it all on there. There is the responsibility for us to start doing something right now.
Now, the understanding many have to this is that this is a feasible roadmap that says there's action required immediately. The only difficulty is that if we mount the pressure and the president insists on not acting, there's a limit to which ordinary people like myself can do. Is there an urgent need for relevant voices like yours to take the lead in calling on the leadership of the country to act immediately?
I agree with you. And that is why some of us at this moment are lone voices doing the same. But there's a need for a collective voice of sanity. So it's not, Abrofo people say that one swallow does not make a summer. I believe that 50 Ghanaians, and I can name them, some of them, just for example, Ishmael Yamson, Honorable Kwame Pianim, and the rest on both sides, I can name about, come together and say that this must be done. They will do it. So this is one of the things that you can help us in mobilizing. The saying, I call them the way voices. Asante has begun some actions. I said that we must commend him, but he can declare the whole Asante mine Galamsey free zone. So the pressure must be on until we achieve results, and the media has a big role to play.
Now, it's pretty interesting the way you bring in that. Winston and others had also talked about the Trade Unions Congress, a very powerful tool that could halt the issues about the sale of hotels with just a statement declaring strike. Is it time for bodies like that to equally get involved?
The same voice should definitely include them. Definitely should include them. Yes. The academia, they are too silent to my liking, my fellow professors, and they are taking sides. I mean, this is a national emergency, and academia must be aroused.
Honorable Haruna Idrissu, the point you made about when you start processes in Parliament, you may not get the numbers to support it. Some say during the Keloforiata movement, it was pretty obvious that that was going to be the end. But do you think Parliament should be recalled? An emergency meeting requiring action should be commenced immediately?
Yeah. Hello, Raymond.
Yes, I was asking about whether you are in the position or you are willing.
Raymond, there is no potent solution to ending Galamsey and an impeachment of President Akufo-Addo. If both parties will support it, we'll be successful. Then President Mahama will be forewarned that if he came and failed, same government will fall on him. But if you have president who come and make pledges, they fail, we celebrate the failure, we honor the failure. And I said, censorship motion, I feel because of excessive partisanship, this matter of our natural environment, the wanton destruction of Ghana's forest resources in the name of mineral exploitation since 15th century is of concern to all of us. We respect the advocacy you and Winston and Co. are doing. We encourage you to do it. Now you're saying the Trade Union Congress. Let Parliament sit right and do what is right. Parliament can impeach any president, any, and I use the word any. If that president fails and Parliament say we are holding you accountable for that failure, and there can be no matter today in Ghana more grievous than denial of people's livelihood in the name of exploitation of mineral resources in the name of Galamsey. Look at what the Chinese are doing. They even have private military and private security in our country, and a minister goes to beg them not tell them that I'll enforce the laws and that I'll get the security agencies to act? Why wouldn't they be emboldened? We know. I'm saying that the pledge of President Mahama for amnesty is just to tell you that we are dealing with the symptoms, not the real problem. Who buys the excavators and hire those young men to use them for the exploitation of minerals? They are working free. So I agree with you that I've heard Professor Stephen Ade on it. He thinks that because we are in a political season, but must our problems wait for elections? No, I disagree. The problems of Ghana, including destruction of our water resources, should wait for an election? No. We must act now.
And in the interest,
I admire what you are doing at Joy FM. You remember that we had the other group led by the president of the telecom chamber. We did its part. Let us continue. The TUC can pick it up. We need to have a national conversation and an assessment and evaluation of what has gone wrong with the strategies we have rolled out, with the interventions we have rolled out. Let us find new ways to deal with Galamsey and save this country and its environment and prepare this country to live within a climate change environment.
If I could press you further on this point, in the interest of the same agency required, are you willing to lead the charge against the president, even if it's for posterity's understanding?
When we come back, I should begin filing a motion of censorship on the president, citing him for failing to manage Galamsey. But my fear is that in the end, when you fail, you will be called names. And you will fail in the name of partisanship. You are not likely. Just watch the attitude of the majority whip, Anodonpre, with the comments that he made. If you file a motion against his president, he's not likely to support it.
He's 1 out of 137 on the side.
You have a crisis unending on your hands. But I think that Professor Stephen Ade has led the way. Let's declare it a national emergency of a national security crisis. Let's act now.
I am grateful to you, former minority leader and member of parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idrissu, and also to you, Professor Emeritus Stephen Ade, immediate past chairman of the National Development Planning Commission. Of course, immediate past chairman too of the Ghana Revenue Authority, right? He was a one-time chairman of that particular institution of state too. Interesting, right?
Look.
Anyway, we are still expecting Minister Samuel Abujinapo, Minister responsible for lands and natural resources.
Update on the meeting.
As you promised the people of this republic that you will give us an update on that meeting you held yesterday, which is to give you an understanding of what's happening across the country and the strategies required to fight it. We still have a lot of time this morning for you to give us that update.
Exactly. And Raymond, you see, you've heard Professor Stephen Ade say that he would wish that this thing is done immediately, but the challenge is that politicians may not do it. But I say we don't have to give them that luxury of a choice. Yeah. Because you see, in this country, we make it look like when we elect people who have gone around sometimes begging us to elect them, they should lord it over us.
That's true.
That should not be the case. And so if we insist that it must be done, it has to be done now. And so that's why I'm calling on the Trades Union Congress, organized labor. If organized labor says, enough government, you must fight Galamsey, Raymond, government would have no choice but to fight it. Professor Ade talks about his colleague lecturers, professors. If they say, enough, Mr. President, you said you're going to put your presidency on the line, get to work and solve this before you leave office.
And we can acknowledge some of them like Professor Nchuamesa.
Yeah.
And also the likes of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences that has issued a statement insisting that action is required immediately. We expect that the rest of the people who equally are sane voices in this republic, like has been called out, really will come to the table and join us. Unfortunately, we are forced to take on the responsibility, something that we have assigned to ministries and ministers and department heads, because this is a collective problem that affects everybody in the Republic of Ghana.
Look, I am prepared to join any demonstration against illegal mining.
Yeah. if it's for the protection of our future.
Exactly. I normally, I don't take part in demonstrations, but I am prepared to join this one. We've had enough. We cannot pretend everything is all right in this country. Okay? Look, we live in a country where majority of our leaders who promised us better economy today will find ways and means to explain away the failures of the economy. You are not able to help us get food regularly on our tables. The environment that should be protected and left for the generations to come, the generations unborn, we are destroying them. And last night, Erastus said in one of the around Offenso, one of the areas that a river passes through, Offin River passes, a party chairman, okay, told him that Nancy Eda we are yeding.
He has no idea.
He has no idea. So, if you live in a community, if you live in a country where people can actually say they want to buy a part of the river, make it a bona fide property,
so they can destroy
it, then it means you have a problem. If you live in a country where you have persons from other countries coming into this country, acquiring weapons, and engaged in illegality, let me tell you, you are not safe. In a country where persons engaged in an illegality decide to prevent officials of the Water Resources Commission,
the people who are put in charge of our water resources,
and they have to sometimes jaw with them that we are not coming to stop you from
negotiating with criminals.
The impunity with which they conduct this. Look, I am concerned. And as for this, we need to do this for our children and the next generation. We cannot fail them on this. If we will say we will not engage in the mining of gold or small-scale mining for the sake of our environment, let's do it.
After all those so-called resources that you're having, we are still in a debt exchange.
Yes.
We are still in a terrible economic situation. So if we decide that gold mining is not going to be our priority in this country, we can still do it. And nobody will die in this country because of that. After all, we are not enjoying. We are not in an advanced, luxurious state. Of course, some people are. But for the good of the country, in fact, somebody sent me a message that if we have to shoot to death 1,000 Galamsey people to protect over 32 million, why does anybody think that should be a wrong thing to do? And people are destroying the future of this country, not only our current state, the future of this country, destroying the brain capacities of our people, the people who want to put up and compete in the world so that we can be better off in the future. Destroying that, giving us very serious conditions that we cannot have the monies to build the needed healthcare systems to deal with. Even those who actually have the healthcare systems, the amount of money to go and pay for it, we may not be able to have it. In whose interest are we protecting them? When we show them and make them look like these are just people who are engaged in petty crimes.
And you see, the other part that saddens me, and the speaker's point, the members of parliament, those who are engaged in that illegal activity, the speaker says, those of you who are doing it. And I'm disappointed in the speaker. If he knows those people, which from his statement suggests he does, he should be handing them over to the police. They should be naming and shaming. Because if you have people, now listen to this, a member of parliament, you're supposed to serve the interest of your community. What you're doing is to be taking campaign funds from persons who are engaged in an illegality, and as a result, what, champion their interest? Is that how low we can sink in this country? That today, everything is about money. Everything is about money.
So if, say, a police officer had taken money from robbers, will we be treating in the same way? Will we be this nonchalant about it? Will we create the impression that, nothing is happening and that we can deal with them with kid gloves? And that these are just people who do not know their left from right? Please, people who are truly unemployed and are looking for opportunities, they know where to find it. Their colleagues, some of them, they have found meaningful ways of earning legitimate wage. Nobody can even expand the argument that I feel I'm unemployed today, so I take to robbery. And that I should be protected because for some reason I ended up in Ghana and there are not many jobs in there.
Look,
Then we should all do robbery because it's very rewarding.
Look.
And again, this illegal mining, they are not doing it because they have no alternatives in life. They are doing it because it is rewarding and it's no longer high risk.
It is greed. And look, years ago we all used to say, "Oh, this is protest mining." It is not protest mining. It is greed. It is not protest. It is greed, and we cannot continue to accommodate individual greed against the collective interest and well-being of the society. Very soon we'll be activating the phone lines, so you can also join us. We want you to tell us your views on the declaration of a state of emergency, so that we can deal with it. Should the president do so now, or like you say, or like you agree with Professor Adair that maybe the next president should come and do that? Dennis, good morning.
Yeah, my name is Daniel.
Daniel, sorry about that, Daniel.
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In fact, all the two sides, all the two personalities that you are talking to, I mean, they are all right. But you see, there's one thing that I want the media also to get in. Look, let us try and help our youth too, because they are the future leaders. Why am I saying that? I grew up in Takrade. I was schooling there. I was traveling between Commander and Takrade. In every 2 weeks, I do pass the River Pra. Back in the days, 1994. It is a lagoon that you can get down from your car, take some and drink. But now you cannot. You understand? Back in the days, 1993 up to 1995. And why am I saying the youth? Those people who are polluting, who are aiding these activities, very soon they will fade off. You understand? Very soon, give us 10 years, they will fade off. But it seems the youth are even not mindful of the fact that, look, they are bringing us sicknesses. If the whole of Western and Central region, water that they drink, it depends on pra and other ones, and we are taking that sickness. Is the future bright for we? Okay. Even work to do now to feed yourself, it is a problem. So it is coming a time, just when you have gotten job doing, you'll be battling with sickness, of which you have to buy medicines and other stuff. So I will beg the media, let us try and talk to the youth, tell them the reasons, so that they can also be advocates like Ken is doing. He's doing one side. Can't the youth also stand at one side and stop this nonsense?
Thank you very much, Daniel. Let's go to Abokobi. Isaac.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Yeah, Isaac James, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good by God's grace. In regards to the other head, and then the other one who is not available today. In fact, I think the state of emergency should be declared now. And I grew up in the eastern region in the village where we used to drink the river. Even when I came to Accra here, close to River Densu, a place called Afuaman, mine here, where we also drink the River Densu. So I think that what we have done, the devastation is too much. And please, Ghanaians should reject both NDC and MPP because they are the cause of our problem. With them, we can't solve this problem because they are the people having this pollution and this destruction. So we should reject them and find someone else. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Isaac James. Let's go to Tema again. Ajaman, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle. I hope you're doing well.
Well, God is taking care of us. Could be better. How about you?
By the grace of God, I'm also strong. I like the passionate way of you talking about this Galamsey menace. And, I mean, I think the state of emergency should be now, because for the next 4 months, we don't know how destruction is going to be with us. It will be very painful, very disastrous, and disgrace for Ghana to import water from outside the country. But every fish spoils from the head. It is alleged that you have some of the authorities, the big men, those in government doing Galamsey. If the authorities don't talk to them to stop, how can it be stopped? I also support that when there's what do you call it? Something to stop Galamsey. If there's a demonstration, sorry, we all have to put ourselves to it.
Yeah.
I mean, the earlier we deal with it, the better. God
Thank
bless you for talking about it.
Thank you very much, Ajiman. Let's go to Kwashiman. Nikpapo, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
God is taking care of us. I believe you're fine too.
Yes, I am. It's been a while.
Sure.
Yes, my brother, you see, these are places that we have Rexec and Musex, and they are in communities and towns with chiefs and kings. So if we can name and shame and name and honor, I think it will contribute to the solving of the problem. Nice day.
Thank you very much, Nick Bakbo. Francis is at Bunkataban. So, Francis, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Winston.
Yes, Francis.
Winston, I think the state of emergency is long overdue. The reason why I'm saying that is, there's no political will to have these issues resolved. Because if you have an MP in Parliament who will elected you there to go and ensure that this country sits in a better place, for him to open his mouth and say that you polluted more than we did. In other jurisdiction, by now he should have resigned. How can you say that? It's so immature for him to say that you polluted more than we did. There's no political will to have this thing resolved. And I think if because the president is aware, even the speaker is saying that people in parliament, it means that even the speaker knows some of the people who are doing that. Asantehene, he said it himself, but there are people seated with him. There, chiefs there, who are aware. There's no political will. I'm telling you, and to me, I feel Ghana is a failed state, because if the commander-in-chief cannot do this one for us, the commander-in-chief cannot ensure that our water bodies, our lands are preserved. I don't know who else is going to do it anymore. I don't know how we are going to get this thing resolved. It's sad. Look, I sit down and sometimes I feel sad for Ghana. Because if our leaders, they go and play at Parliament, in the Parliament House, they go and play there, and they go home. They are played and they go home. It's sad. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Francis. Let's go to Tema. Prosper, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, Prosper.
Yeah, please, listening to the two honorables on your station today, it will be okay for the state of emergency to be declared now. In fact, I would like the president to declare that state of emergency this very week, because this is getting out of hand. In fact, let's even deploy the military to start killing those people, because killing a small portion of those Galancers and saving the next generation is far, far better. So, this thing we all have to rise up and stand up against it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prosper. Samson is at Mataiku. Samson, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Samson.
Yes, Winston, how are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
We are also fine, thank you. We see, Winston.
Yes, sir.
The problems of this country, anytime I sit down and review the president, it's just that the citizens have become too weak. The country, Ghana, I don't know whether it's culture, whether it's religion, whether it's whatever. Ghanaians have become overly weak. I don't know how many of them are the politicians. The entire 31 million people, our future, our children, our generations, is being, decimated because of the Kufuor. That's coming president, the one who said we should what? He begged us to vote for him. Today, he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, is he not?
Yes,
so
he is.
So what would the military do? Maybe the most potent, like you were saying, the countervailing power, force in this country that can deal with this matter are the unions, the workers. All workers in this country, maybe 2 weeks, whoever we are, let's put down our tools. And let's see if he can rule this country. That's my contribution. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you very much, Samson. Bishop in Asante Mampong. Bishop, good morning.
Good morning, Winston. How are you?
I'm fine, Bishop. How about you?
It's not good. The way our country is being devastated. Galamsey. But, Winston, we are on air advocating for a state of emergency, which is good. Let the president declare the state of emergency. We are the same people who will be crying that human rights abuse and the rest. And people will take him on. Parliamentarians will take him on. They should have brought it to Parliament, and because of and the rest. I think this time around, if a state of emergency is declared, they should all come together and say, yes, we are behind the president, and we have to get rid of Galamsey. Number two, the youth that we are fighting for, that want to prepare the land for them in the future. Winston, I will tell you, check our senior high students, our tertiary students, anytime they are on vacation, they all troop to Galamsey side to help in digging the ground and devastating the land. We teach them in schools, and we tell them how environmental degradation is harmful to the communities.
Okay.
But they are the same people who go during vacation to go and do Galamsey.
Right.
And I don't know what we are getting.
Thank you very much, Bishop from Asante Mampong. Mutala is our final caller. Mutala in Medina. Mutala, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, Mutala.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Please, the thing is that this thing of Galamsey will never stop in Ghana because we are politicizing it too much in such a way that it cannot be stopped. It is only the leaders who are supposed to stop it immediately. Because if you are a landlord and you are in your house and I just come with shovel and this thing to start digging, what will you tell me? So it is the traditional rulers, the communities, they are the very people. Because the president is in his office. So are you telling me that the president or the government should wake up from his decision to come and inspect them? It is only the traditional rulers. They are those causing this.
Thank you very, very much, Mutala, and thanks to all of you for joining us this morning. Many of you supporting the state of emergency. And now, I think we should actually do a poll on that, Raymond.
Yeah, that's true.
So that we can send the signal to the president.